All right, everybody, I thought I would go over the video that I just produced. It's downloading now over the analysis of the bad behavior of this horrific debate. She lost this. It's incredible how bad she lost it. So let's get started. First encounter, they shake hands, and the aggression that she portrays is so disgraceful. It's definitely not an American citizen. It's a sick person. She says over and over, let's be clear, let's be clear, let's be clear. And then she says 81 people fired you. However, we all know that there's voter fraud. And the line of his television show, The Apprentice, was an instigative move to tell him that he was fired when we all know it's corruption. And that's the only reason why she's in office. Joe, we did it. Everything about her was instigative. There was a word that she used that was just demeaning, and she's just straight up lying by taking his words and changing the words like a woman does. The world's laughing at you, Donald Trump, when we just talked as if and said to you as the American people, the world is laughing at us because we're supposed to be a united front. Then she goes on to disrespect Joe Biden. I'm running for office, she says, not Joe Biden, which tells you there's no unity within the Democratic Party, and that's straight up disrespect to our current president, Joe Biden. It's why he wears the Donald Trump hat at the 9/11 event. Look out for your friends of dictators versus the democracy. Well, yeah, because you want to keep your enemies close so that you can figure out what they're up to and what their agenda's up to protect your people so you don't get blindsided by a bomb on 9/11. We all know that Obama was involved in that. So you better keep the peace versus her version of democracy, which is kumbaya. And again, she's instigative to Kim Jong-un, who if she were to be president, which she's vice president, would have to have dialogue with. It's disrespectful. Putin, as well as Xi, which is all of what she's talking about. That doesn't make any sense for somebody who's trying to run for election. That's how bad she is at this. She then implicates the rallies to disrespect him and implies the shooting. You should be at those rallies. You should have seen what we did. Instigative move to try to get him mad because they shot him. Evidence. If she's watching it on TV or she's at the rally, the only way she would know that people were bored is hearsay. And if people were leaving early, how does she know? She's watching on TV and Democrats don't show up at Trump rallies. So again, she's implicated herself in a case because now we know within the Proud Boys, there were Democrats getting riled up audience members to boo and hoo and hiss and do all that nasty coo. Then she refers, after talking about the rallies, she talks about Hannibal Lecter. And Donald Trump uses Hannibal Lecter to warn you as in how serious this open border thing is. Because these migrants coming out of crazy houses and prisons. Not in Kumbaya, reminding you of Riley Lakin. And windmills do cause cancer because he has a study and proof, which means that she's not invested in education. She doesn't prevent. She uses Obamacare to use chemo to ruin your life. Think on that. Then All she does is talk about herself. MAGA. She says all he does is talk about himself. He doesn't talk about you. But all she does when she talks about you is her own feelings and your feelings. That's not democracy. Talking about your feelings is a cult. It's conformity. It's not democracy. Talking about what Donald Trump talks about in the form of policy is democracy. Then she moves on to ROEVWADE. Long ass drama, drawn out story of pain, causing pain to people to rile up the American people. So not only has she talked about the American people, such as the Proud Boys who have a feeling of democracy, she's now talking about her own people and making them feel pain to fuel your pain, to stir emotion in an audience that's very, very painful. Then she talks about a story about ABOTRN. Then she's preying on your emotions and drama. And then she talks about barely being able to afford childcare. But then how can they pay for IVF? And then she says they have to get on an airplane so they can go to another state. But if they're going to another state, it's probably the ABORTION. It's because they can't afford the last child. Not because they can't carry the baby to term, because that would be called a DNC. Then she refers to Americans as strangers. But they used to not be strangers under Donald Trump. You used to have compassion and real strong, sturdy form of behavior in other people's pain without even saying a word. However, now it's tragedy because not only are we unsafe with Americans, such as BLM members and Democrats, but now we have to have unsafe flight patterns because of her. And reminding you that Ketanji Brown was the last elected official on the justice system. So she's obviously not good at her job. And neither is Kamala Harris. You're the problem for ROEVWADE. You are just trying to stir up problems and concerns. You're not good at your job. That's the bottom line. Unconscionable is a word I wanted to point out. Then she gives decisions. You can make decisions is what she wants for a woman to choose. The freedom to KILL. And then she talks about the Proud Boys here. Attacking Americans. So then she says, yes to women you can, no to men you can't. And then she instigates people in America, however, we're a intelligent group of men, to instigate a riot. And then she uses the word stand back, stand by. Words Donald Trump said. Don't go back, turn the page, bridge, because she wants to steal fans or followers. I'm not really sure of the swing states. I have to hurry. We're running out of time. Tragedy, consistently used RACE, huh? Donald Trump's never spoken to RACE. They're always talking about it. Division is coherent in that it's Kamala Harris that's the problem. Doesn't even know his true past of the history of Donald Trump. And the full page ad of the 5 young boys who attacked the Asian in the park, they were guilty. They were guilty. They were guilty. He used his own money to protect a citizen of the United States of America. Then she brings up Obama, and he is not an American citizen and calls it birther lies. Talks for the American people. That's the sign of a dictator. And then speaks to past versus the future. You have to go back to the past and clean it up before you can have a strong future. And I made it through my whole dialogue in 10 minutes. Yay!